Okay, so in this last video, we redesigned an empty space, and this is an easier task for the language models generally. Now, in this video, we're going to look at what we mentioned earlier, where we were kind of just wanting to redesign some of the kitchen. So let's say we want to keep this bench top, but we want to do something different with this back wall here. That's kind of slightly different task. So I'm going to keep editing this image with Gemini. We're going to remove the chairs, and we also are going to want to remove those tiles again, I think. But, maybe we can keep them. We'll see what happens. So we're going to remove the chairs so that we've just got our space. There we go. And then we're going to make this a black and white line drawing again. And again, we're just going to use the cheapest model for doing that. And hit go. And then we're going to find a reference image. I'm just going to go find one that I like. This has got a lot of reflections and things in it. Part of the reason for doing a line drawing is you want to simplify the image. Because this has so many reflections, I think that's going to confuse the model. So I might just run this again and hopefully it gets rid of some of those reflections. Typically a CAD line drawing wouldn't have reflections. Okay, that's not doing a great job. So I'm going to use a better model on it. And we'll see if it does a better job. Okay, I actually didn't have too much luck making that better. So we're sticking with FluxCline. It's managed to dumb down some of the reflections. I hope this is going to be okay. We'll see how we go. Now I'm also going to pick a different reference image just for fun this time. Let's say we want to do this kind of stripped back gardeny one. Why not? Or I'll go back to using Wawoa, which was some friends of mine, and we used their project for the demo initially. Let's see if we can find some images. There we go. That's the one that I used for the demo. In fact, did they do? That'd be funny if they did this other one as well. I think they might have. That is amusing. Anyway, let's use this one for the demo. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All of their designs are really cool. So we'll try this one for this next step. So we've got a image now, and a note here is aspect ratios are really important. So when we're using a portrait reference image with a landscape target image, sometimes the models can get a little bit confused. You can always go and crop your reference image if you want to. That can make things work a little bit better, but we'll try it first and see how we get on. So again, we're going to use Gemini, and we're going to use Gemini Pro actually. We're going to plug in our reference image and our target image. I'm going to make sure our aspect ratio is set to the aspect ratio of our reference image, or our target image, sorry, and we're just going to use the exact same prompt as we did before. Okay, and we'll run that one this time. Now it's interesting because we don't have a bench at the back, so we're going to see, or any cabinetry or anything at the back actually. So we're going to see what the model does for that space. It might just leave it and just redesign the bench, or maybe it'll put something in there. But the next thing that we'll do, regardless of what happens from this output, is we're going to sketch over this and just roughly outline where we want some things to go. Like maybe we want to wrap the bench up and then have a taller cabinet here, or maybe we just want to keep this low the whole way along, or maybe we want high benches the whole way, or high cabinets the whole way along. We'll get to try some things out. So I'll just pause it while this runs and come back. Okay, that's finished. So you can see what it does this time is it's keeping this bench because it's in our reference image here. It's keeping the door, it's keeping the window, it's keeping the bulkhead. And what it's decided to do is put full cabinets all the way up this wall, which is fair enough because when we did this line drawing, it actually removed or when we did this first step of removing the cabinets, There was a door there, but we actually removed the door as well with this prompt. So we had to be a little bit more careful with that. But this has done an okay job, honestly. It's kind of gone and fitted the kitchen in with what we've got. It's added this kind of splashback here, which I don't really like. So, I guess it's really useful to do a little bit of design with this. So I'm going to copy this image over here. I'm just going to drag it to copy it and keep those ones where they are. And we're going to sketch over it. So we want to get rid of this splashback. And let's say like we can design a little bit. So we want to get rid of that and get rid of that. And let's also try and get rid of this. And we'll just hit save. And actually, instead of editing the line drawing, it's almost always a better idea to just edit the photograph before we convert it to a line drawing. So I'm going to do that instead. So let's go and cross out the stuff we don't want. So we don't want that, we don't want that, and we don't want that. And hit save. And then we're going to use Gemini. And we're just going to say remove the splashbacks and curtains. And we'll hit go. Okay, nice. Let's clean that up for us. And we can make this a line drawing again and then continue on. So we'll use flux. And once we've got a line drawing, then we're going to do some sketching this time to decide or sort of define a little bit about where we want this design to, how we want this design to work. So let's put our door back in. That's probably the first thing we should do. So we had a door here, and I'm just going to sketch that door in. Okay, so we've got our door. And then for our bench, and maybe to like really make it sure it's a door, there we go, it's got a door handle. We want to keep our bench coming along here, let's say, and maybe just for fun, like maybe we make it a sort of a weird U. A terrible idea for a kitchen, but maybe that's what you want to do. Okay, there's our bench, just like that. And we're going to have some cabinets in there like that. So we can roughly sketch in what like the changes that we want to make. These don't have to be great sketches, just roughly is going to be fine. And then we're going to grab this one, and instead of using our clean line drawing, we're going to use this one, and we're just going to hit play with exactly the same prompt. So I'm not even going to tell it what to do about all these red lines. We're just going to see if it figures it out. If it doesn't figure it out, then we'll probably tell it, look, the red lines are sketching where some design changes need to be made. Just, consider those appropriately. So I'll pause this while it runs. Okay, that's back. It's done its thing. So you can see now it's taken into account our sketch. It's kind of just done that on its own. It's taken into account my weird design idea of like forcing this funny little return here to make a C-shaped kitchen instead of a U. And it's gone and figured out how to fit this kind of cabinetry, which is like extremely weird over this. And it's put the oven in there, which is kind of nice. So this just shows how you can do some sketching just to encourage the model to design how you want. And you can do more or less sketching. So if we wanted to, figure out a different floor system, I would get rid of these tiles first, and then it's going to hallucinate in or design in the floor. If you want to put cabinets in particular places, you can sketch them in. If you want to remove anything from your existing space, you can remove it first. This gives you a decent amount of control over the design process. So in the last video in this series, I'm going to show you how to take a single image of our space, probably going to use, well, this one, or maybe it's this one. And we're going to use, let's say, 4 or 5 different reference designs, and then just redesign the space with all 4 references all at once. So we get 4 different options to choose from. So that'll be in the next video.